What's in these phone records?
Well, Pete, the inquiry is trying to fill a 6-minute gap in information on the 27th of March between 1:16 p.m. and 1:22 p.m, during which then Chief Commissioner of Police Graham Ashton switched his mind from thinking security duties at these hotels would be undertaken by the AFP or ADF to understanding it would be done by private security under what he called a deal set up by the Departments of Premier and Cabinet. Now, during his sworn evidence to the inquiry, Mr Ashton said he couldn't remember who told him about that deal, and the phone records, his inbound phone calls, would only be obtainable via a police warrant. But now the inquiry has chosen a different path and has instead requested the outbound phone records of a number of people, including Premier Daniel Andrews, some of his senior staffers, as well as the Secretary of the Department of Premier and Cabinet, Chris Eccles. It's hoped these phone calls and text messages will shed some light on what happened and who told Chief Commissioner of Police Graham Ashton that private security would be used. Even if they can't determine exactly who made that decision, they will be able to determine who told the Chief Commissioner and follow the breadcrumb trail from there. Now, it is an issue that the inquiry has been trying to get to the bottom of for months now, but all of the witnesses they've called can't remember exactly who, and if they have this information, well, they can follow the breadcrumb trail and find out who made that fatally flawed decision. It is quite an extraordinary development given the evidence-gathering phase of the inquiry had technically concluded. It is still, though, scheduled to hand down its final report on the 6th of November.
And Pat, it's now mathematically impossible for Melbourne to meet its targets for the next step out of lockdown, but some restrictions will soon be eased.
Yeah, that's right, Pete. Even if Victoria were to record 0 cases every day from now until the weekend, Melbourne would still miss the target for its next step of reopening. But that target has effectively been scrapped. The Premier saying that some restrictions will still be eased from next weekend, though not as many as initially promised in what's been described as a Step 3 2.0. Now, exactly what is in these restrictions, this suite of measures remains unclear. The Premier has, though, flagged it will afford Melburnians the opportunity to see more friends and family, so perhaps more people gathering outside, the introduction of household bubbles similar to the case in regional Victoria at the moment, and possibly the scrapping of the 5-kilometre rule. Businesses, though, will be watching very closely, particularly hospitality. They all remain closed to in-store customers and are desperate to reopen, especially given Grand Final Day is right around the corner.
Yeah.